welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I would super duper appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button because every subscriber helps. I need to think of something different to say because I feel like Tesco are going to sue me soon. Today's video is going to be a New Year's Eve makeup look and a Q&A, so I'm going to answer some of the questions that you asked me over on Instagram, and while I do that, I'm going to do this really super cute, firework inspired New Year's Eve makeup look, so let's go. Of course Zero starts to take a shit as soon as I'm going to do my makeup. Every time. It's like he knows. I apologise if the lighting is really super bad, but like I've got two ring lights on me, one from here, one from here. I've got natural lighting and it still looks like this. So I don't know what else to do. What I should have done is not let this filming process until literally New Year's Eve. I didn't realise how much stuff I had to do today. I have a lot to do today, so I'm going to film this video, which is a New Year's Eve makeup look and Q&A. And then I also have to film my 2023 year in review happiness jar. I then need to go shopping and get some bread because I need to make sure that I can put bread out at New Year's. I also need to go and see my dad. I also need to make 2 of my relax videos for Instagram and TikTok. I also need to make a get ready with me for TikTok as well. And yeah, I just feel like today is gonna be very, very busy. I'm also going live at midnight on Instagram for anyone who is alone on New Year's. So I'm currently just using my Power Primer from Collection, and that was gifted. I did not purchase this, it was gifted, but look at that. It's a very good primer. I also have my laptop at the side of me where I've got all of my questions that my followers over on Instagram have asked me. Let's just get right into that. The foundation that I'm using currently is my NYX Bear With Me Blur. It's the only foundation that I actually wear at the moment. I used to use the NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop, but then I stopped using that, ironically. But the first question is, how did you know you had ADHD? And I think I always knew I had ADHD. My brother's got ADHD and he's younger than me, and we're very different, but we had very similar traits, such as our inability to maintain our anger, whereas he was very outward with his and would like yell and shout and argue and was very hyperactive and was just kind of considered like a naughty boy, whereas my anger was more towards myself. I would take my anger out on myself. And I noticed a lot of traits all the time, and I always wondered why I was the one who was always seemingly struggling with everything. And I think it was harder to sort of see that I had ADHD because I'm also autistic, so a lot of the traits are very different, they overlap, and they're very contradictory of one another. But I really noticed my ADHD a lot more during the first lockdown, when I had absolutely zero routine, and I started noticing like more and more things, and then I was like, oh my gosh. And then I did some research because ADHD was always something that I thought I had but never really sought help for because I didn't fully understand what ADHD was. And then obviously I then got my ADHD diagnosis. The answer was probably really terrible, and if you want like a full video about my ADHD diagnosis and stuff, then I will do that. There's just a lot of questions and a lot to go through. The next question, nice and easy, Percy Jackson or Harry Potter? And of course it's going to be Percy Jackson because I don't like Harry Potter. I don't watch Harry Potter. I've seen all of the movies. I watched them like maybe last year or the year before. But yeah, out of the two, I prefer Percy Jackson. This question came up quite a lot, which was, can you be autistic without a medical diagnosis? And my answer is, and always will be, yes. You are no less autistic because you don't have a diagnosis, just like you're not more autistic just because you do have a diagnosis. I was autistic and ADHD before I got diagnosed. So even without the medical diagnosis, I was still autistic and ADHD. Not everyone has the privilege of being able to seek a diagnosis. Not everybody wants a diagnosis, and a diagnosis can hinder you in some ways, and so I understand that not everybody wants that. The waiting list is excruciatingly long, and if you're not in the UK and it's not on the NHS, it's an extremely expensive process to go through, and not everyone has the funds and the means to go through that process, and it's also mentally draining, and not everyone has the spoons for that. Self-diagnosis is 100% valid, and I will die on that hill. I will never ever ever accept anyone telling me different. Self-diagnosis is valid. I was self-diagnosed for 3 years before I got my diagnosis, and I was just as valid then as I am now. The next question is, do you use primer, and if so, what one? And I do use primer sometimes. I only ever use primer if I'm doing a full face, which is not very often. I've already shown the primer that I use. If I'm doing just my eyes, I will use an eye primer, which is literally the exact same brand, which is Collection, and it's the Power one, and again, it was gifted. And I'm currently just powdering my face with this cheap Rimmel transparent powder and my Glisten Cosmetics powder puff. The next question is, do you like Taylor Swift? Yes, I like Taylor Swift. Weirdly enough, she was my most played artist on my Spotify Wrapped, but I really didn't play her that much. So I was very like shocked that she was my most played artist because I very rarely play Taylor Swift from Spotify. I find that weird, but yeah, I do like Taylor Swift. And she also said, can you say hi Chiari? I think that's how you say it. If it's not, I'm so sorry, and please comment and tell me how to pronounce it correctly. But if it is that, then hi Chiari. Okay, for blusher, we are using my Blooming Blush from Glisten Cosmetics in the shade Ticklish. The next question is, do you believe there is only 2 genders? And no, absolutely not. I do not believe that at all. Gender is a social construct, and trans men are men, trans women are women, non-binary people are non-binary. That's that. The next question is, what makeup brands do you use? That's easy. I use NYX Cosmetics, Glisten Cosmetics, and that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the only 2 makeup brands that I use. I do use Collection Cosmetics only since they gifted them to me. I never used them before. And the same with Barry M. I've used Barry M makeup before, but again, I've not purchased it. They've gifted it to me and I've used it because I've liked it. But the makeup brands that I genuinely go and purchase and actually use consistently is NYX and Glisten Cosmetics. Okay, I've got a patch of dry skin here and I should have exfoliated my face before I did my makeup today. It probably wouldn't have been as bad if I would have used a makeup sponge and not my fingers, but here we are. How do you cope with getting tattoos as a neurodivergent person, and do you plan on getting any more? And the answer to that question is yes, I plan on getting more, a few more, a lot more. I think I'm more of a sensory seeker when it comes to pain. That was worded wrong. It's more like the pain of a tattoo is like a hot scratch. Although it is painful, I think it's more the ADHD in me rather than the autism in me that it feels exciting, and I get really excited and I know that it's going to end with a beautiful piece of art on my body. And I say a beautiful piece of art when I'm not sat here with like a bunch of junk all over me, but I like it and that's all that matters. Yeah, I feel like it's a lot easier for me to deal with because I've got quite a high pain threshold anyway, but the way that I manage, so I make sure that I take comfort items with me. So I usually take my stuffed Pooh Bear. I also take fidget toys to keep my hands busy so I don't move and fidget because I do find it really hard to sit still. In terms of needing to sit still, my tattooists, whoever I go to, I will explain to them that I'm ADHD and autistic and I may need to get up and have a little walk to get some energy out because I do have ADHD and I find it hard to sit still, and every single person that's tattooed me has been completely okay with that. I also take my ear defenders, I'll take headphones to listen to music. I make sure to take snacks, lots of sugary snacks because you need to get your sugar up, and I'll also take like fizzy drinks, bottles of water, and just make sure that I'm comfortable. I'll wear clothes that I'm comfortable in, usually loose fitting, soft touching clothes that I don't feel too restricted in, so I'm less likely to get overstimulated. I genuinely don't feel overstimulated in the moment because I'm more overcome with excitement, but probably as soon as I get home I feel extremely overstimulated and overwhelmed. I'll just sleep for hours, and I usually spend the next couple of days resting because it's taken a lot out of me that I haven't realised at the time, and so I always make sure that I've got a day or two after a tattoo that's just blocked out for rest. I'm just going to finish these dots and then I'm going to answer the next question because I really need my focus for the next question. The next question made me really sad, and it's, if I commit to full eating disorder recovery, will I just become overweight? The person who messaged me this, one, I want you to know that you are so worthy of full recovery. I cannot even explain how much that you deserve recovery. I am doing so much better in my recovery than I have ever done, and it's because I gave myself the freedom to recover. With committing to full recovery, you know that you're going to gain weight. The hardest part of recovery is the mental recovery, and no one talks about the mental side of recovery, and everyone thinks, oh, once you're weight restored, you're recovered. Absolutely not. I struggled more when I was weight restored than I did before. And I have an ebook which is 10 things to know about eating disorder recovery. I also have a video all about eating disorder recovery. If you want to check them out, I would really super appreciate that. I can't sit here and say, no, you won't become overweight, or yes, you will become overweight, because I don't know. I don't have your body. Everyone's body is different. If you're basing overweight off of BMI, then it's wrong. So BMI was actually created by a mathematician, and they only used men, and then they just sort of guesstimated the amounts for women. The actual creator of the BMI has said that he does not want people to be using BMI as a measure of health because it's not accurate. It's completely inaccurate. Your healthiest body knows where it's healthiest at. One person's healthiest body is completely different to your healthiest body. When you start full recovery and you start working on mentally recovering, you won't have the fear of I'm just going to be overweight, because that won't be a factor in why you're recovering. In recovery, you will gain weight, yes. You'll have more time and more energy to do things and focus on things that genuinely bring you joy. You will gain friendships, you'll gain insight into how to feel better about yourself, you'll gain confidence, you'll gain love, you'll gain an actual life that's full of happiness and joy. But you will never ever ever meet a person in recovery or a person who's recovered who regrets it, ever, because you're not gaining weight, you're gaining a life. Looking a certain way is not worth dying over. The next question is, what is my favourite makeup look? My favourite one is the Scream one I did. I did a ghost face and a knife, and that's probably my favourite because it took me the longest, and I was so proud of how that turned out. Like, I feel like it looked freaking just, it looks so good. So that was my favourite one. The next question is, what's the best and biggest thing that you've achieved this year? And that question will get answered in the next video, which is my 2023 jar, and I'm gonna go through this, which is every single moment in 2023 that made me happy. What is your ideal New Year's Eve versus your actual New Year's Eve? My ideal New Year's Eve, honestly, my ideal New Year's Eve would be to build a fort and get in it with my weighty blanket and watch movies, and I'm probably gonna do that. Like, that's probably what I'm gonna do. The next question is, what studies did you attend? You're very knowledgeable. And this question is so freaking sweet. I do have a university degree, but I did visual arts, and on Saturday I actually start my ADHD coaching training, which I'm really, really excited about. But the reason I'm so knowledgeable is because ADHD and autism are two of my special interests, and I spend probably around 80% of my time researching. I spend a lot of time researching, probably too much time. I need to get a hobby. Okay, that's my makeup done. I'm gonna go and get dressed. I'll be right back. You can't see me very well, but this is the finished look. My makeup is done. I've got these really cute raindrop earrings. I have this cute little purple bow in my hair, and I put my hair like half up, half down because I couldn't decide if I wanted it up or down, so this is like the best of both worlds. And then my outfit is pretty much the entirety of my outfit, Lucy, and yeah. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that I answered the questions good enough. There are so many questions that I didn't answer, and if you would like a part 2, then just let me know. I hope everyone has a super, super good new year, and I will see you next time.